Welcome to the Christian Campfire Conversations podcast, where we have real conversations about real topics. Our goal is to educate believers in order to fulfill the Great Commission. So without further ado, let's get on to the podcast. What is up, my basic family? We just peaked the the bar that tells us how loud we're being. Is that funny?
A little bit.
Because of the video we watched the other day. This is a bad start to the podcast. Anyway, let's just keep it rolling. Max is losing it. Anyway, I'm Keegan Lowen. I'm joined today by my co-host, and he's also the host / co-host.
I'm
Max Moore.
Keegan's my co-host.
We're not going to fight about it. I'm the co-host. You're the co-host. We are co-hosts.
Yeah, I mean, what government or country hasn't been super great with 2 leaders in it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for real. It's like they have to have 2 equals because people can stand to be on the same level. Like they're fine with that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Most of the time.
Like in The Office, when Jim and Michael are they're 2 both general managers or whatever.
Yeah.
Regional managers.
Yeah, assistant regional manager, assistant to the regional manager.
Yeah.
Yes. So, you already heard about our weeks in the last podcast. Well, I don't even know if it's going to be the last podcast, but the last one we recorded.
Yeah.
So let's get into it.
Let's get into it. Yeah. Secular music or just music in general? Let's just go music in general.
Music. What is the place for music in Christianity?
Shouldn't be allowed. No, I'm just joking.
We are outright against it. Well, our Mennonite, our Holderman Mennonite friends do not believe in instruments.
Yep, no piano, no organ. Nothing like that.
Like, they're so traditional, they don't even have an organ at their church anymore. We don't have an organ at our church anymore, but it's because we moved up.
Yeah, we're not into that anymore.
She broke, I'm up. But, kind of the inspiration for this is can Christians listen to secular music? If we can't, what kind of music are we supposed to be listening to? Questions like that, common questions that I would say most Christians question.
Yeah, it's kind of where should secular music be? Should I listen to secular music? Because Proverbs 4:23, above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. So if we're listening to this music, it's how is that affecting how I'm living as a Christian? Yeah,
I have a very very personal story about that. I mean, it's when I was in junior high, even early high school years, I loved rap music.
Yeah.
Ask Max, I lived and breathed rap music. And they talk about taking advantage of women. The kind of the joke, drugs, women, sex and drugs, that was, but that was the joke, but that was what it was actually about. It talks about sex, it talks about drugs, and it talks about everything in between. And this is what I'm filling my mind with. And you convince yourself that, no, I'm not going to think about those things, but it starts to take over your mind because your speech begins to, I
would say replicate.
Yeah, exactly. They say the F-bomb, I say the F-bomb. They wear ski masks, I wear ski masks. But that's what I'm seeing with a lot of the younger generation, especially with the younger generation that loves rap music. It's they're wearing ski masks around.
Yeah, no, at the cross-country meet today, we're recording this on Saturday, by the way, so I ran this morning. Dude, there was 3 shiesties.
Yeah, exactly. They are so shiesty.
It's just why are you wearing that? It's it's 100 degrees outside. No, it wasn't that odd, but.
So, Max, I don't even listen to it for the words. I just like the beats. I'm a big fan of hip-hop. I don't even listen to the words.
Yeah, you do.
Right?
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, no, and I did.
Yeah, exactly. And so, because it's man, are you just listening to the beats? Are you dancing to it? Because, you listen to the words,
And, you get this is a chance where you get to, this is something you are this is just eating something.
Yeah.
You're intaking this. It's think about how picky you are about with what you put into your body. For you healthy people, not me, just kidding. But, for you healthy people, think about how particular you are about what you put in your body. And then now think about how particular you are about what you put in your body spiritually. Music. Am I putting in music that is cussing every other word? Or am I putting in music? It's we're called to glorify God in everything we do.
Yeah.
It's like not like
Everything.
just like don't dishonor God in everything you do. It's like glorify God in everything you do.
Exactly. And I think that my perspective has kind of changed on this. Mike Winger had talked about how his perspective has changed on this, and he was talking. He said, like he used to say, like, oh man, don't try not to listen to secular music, if all possible. Then he also then he's like, man, it depends on the message of the music, because if the message is good, if the message is like, I don't even know what secular music has like such good.
Yeah.
But it's talking.
Let's just get too real. Let's can I listen to Zach Bryan? Zach Bryan cusses. He talks about getting drunk. He talks about probably mistreating women at times, but how he's sorry about it.
Yeah, but how he's sorry about it.
Sorry,
it could have
Rose. Sorry, Rose.
It could have it could be like a good thing. I would almost say, if he's sorry about it.
Are you just trying to defend yourself?
I love Zach Bryan,
dude.
so.
I love. I do too. I really like his music, and I think it's like, how do you walk away from it? Do you walk away from a song? What are your intrusive thoughts? Are your intrusive thoughts like, oh, sex, drugs, and murder, or just a good old country boy who's had a hard time at love? But here's the thing. Is it glorifying to God? We're putting this into our body.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's a good question too, because it's like, how is this affecting my mind?
Yeah.
Because, listening, or this is from Pfizer.com. It talks about.
I'm a big fan of Pfizer.
How don't even go there with the vaccines, dude. Listening to or making music increases blood flow to brain regions that generate and control emotions. The limbic system, which is involved in processing emotions and controlling memory, lights up when our ears perceive music. So it's affecting our emotions. It's pouring blood into where our emotions are coming from. So it's like, man, if I'm listening to Zach Bryan, which typically has sad music, I might be more sad.
Yeah, and don't be surprised.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of an important thing to note, because, and I think there's times for that, to be honest. I mean,
it's a solemn thing. It's like you're being very vulnerable in that moment, like to allow yourself to be sad. It's like me and you, who are very chipper people, to the outside world, like I'd say we're pretty exuberant people.
Yeah.
We're happy about life. And it's like when you're alone in your thoughts, it's like sometimes you just like need to be like mellow.
Yeah, exactly. And I think too, it's like, and this is kind of getting off on a sidetrack, but I think it's a rabbit trail that we could follow with this concerning emotions. We think that I can't be sad. Well, no, I don't think that's true. I think we can be sad. We're supposed to laugh with our brothers and sisters, and we're also supposed to cry with our brothers and sisters. The shortest verse in the Bible, Jesus wept.
Yeah.
Jesus, when we think about weeping, like we think about like wailing and streaming of tears, like that was the Lord of the universe. That was the guy who saved us all, and he was weeping. So I think that we can do that.
What gender was God? No, for real. Answer that. This is gonna lead to something.
He. God.
I didn't ask for his pronouns. I said, what gender is he?
And God doesn't have a gender.
No, you're supposed to answer my question.
God doesn't have a gender.
What gender was Jesus?
Oh, he was a guy.
He was a male.
He was a male. He's a guy.
He was a guy. I didn't ask for his pronouns. No. Anyway, God's pronouns are he, him. Anyway, what I'm trying to say is Jesus was a man. And Jesus wept. Like that has a little bit more power than we realize, because as men, we don't try to experience those emotions. Those are emotions that we conceal. I feel like it's a natural thing. Like, okay, this can kind of be taken a wrong way, but like some people have a thing against like man up.
Yeah.
I think it's good. I don't really care. But at the same time, like if man up means concealing your emotions, then no, don't man up.
Yeah.
Men are way worse about concealing their emotions. And that kind of leads to one of the other things that is on our list as well, like depression and suicide. The most suicides are by males.
Mm-hmm.
They...
By an overwhelming amount.
Right. What's it, like 30...
I don't want to.
I don't even want to quote it because I don't know what it is, but I know it's an overwhelming amount.
Yeah.
And what are we doing as Christian men? Like, we're concealing our emotions. So I can speak from my own personal experience. When I get sad, about something, I sit in it for a while and I walk away from it feeling better than when I went into it.
Yeah.
It's like it's a growth experience. It's like, man, I'm really sad, and I'm just gonna let it be. Like I'm gonna for once not try to control this situation.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that, we're kind of relating it back to music. I think we can, I think that's one way we can express our emotions is through the music that we might be listening to, because if I'm sad, I might listen to one of the Christian artists that I like that I think it's real is Chris Renzema. He shows us kind of what, because I think that, and that's kind of hopping on the Christian music industry conspiracy, but they're out to make money, right? I mean, that's the goal. This world is run by money. You have to make money.
They're singing to Becky. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Huh?
There's a thing in Christian music that they're trying to write songs to the 30-year-old soccer mom called Becky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, have you heard about that before?
I know what you're talking about, but I know it's called Becky.
Yeah, they call her Becky.
Like I watched a John Christ every Christian music video.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and they were talking about, this is like, this is happy, this is jolly because, most of our listeners are, white moms, white soccer moms.
Exactly. Well, those are the people who listen to the radio. Like, let's be honest, we don't listen to the radio.
Yeah, my Bluetooth kicks on in my music right away.
I think of the Francesca Battistelli song, "I lost my keys." That's the most like Becky thing.
Oh man, I know. I always go back to I always go back to probably like Casting Crowns.
Which one?
Oh my goodness, dude.
I'm coming back to the heart of... That's Matt Redman, right?
Yeah, I don't know who that is, but that's a basic one.
That's an OG.
Also, I go back to Matthew West, The Motions.
And I can only imagine.
Go through, yeah,
yes,
I can only imagine.
Yes, and like Toby Mac. God, we could reminisce about the days.
Yes.
We kind of grew up in like the era that Christian music changed. Yeah. I feel like it became more relevant. But I feel like it sounds like a proverb. I can't say, but like words have the power of life and death.
Yeah.
Is that something that's in the Bible?
I don't know for sure, to be honest with you, but I do know that, kind of transitioning into Christian music, when we listen to a Christian music song, it's just as important as the sermon that the preacher preaches.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So it's like, man, you wouldn't go to a church if you didn't agree with the preacher. You shouldn't go to a church if you don't agree with the music. And so like, I have this pulled up here, and I'm not gonna dog on Bethel music very much, but I am gonna dog on them right now because I believe that this is unbiblical. So that this is the bridge in the song Champions. It says, "When I lift my voice and shout, every wall comes crashing down. I have the authority Jesus has given me." That's fine. We have authority. Jesus has given us this authority, right? But then it also says, "When I open up my mouth, miracles start breaking out." What? When I open my mouth, miracles start breaking out? I don't think I've ever opened up my mouth and miracles have started breaking out. I think
and
God
they're
can do
talking
that.
about like as in
like
as in not like as in God,
as in me. Yeah, exactly.
Like when Jesus was walking this earth, yes, miracles did break out.
And even every wall comes crashing down. Like, what do they mean by that exactly? And so I think a lot of the problem with this modern Christian like big band music is that they are so nuanced in their. Keegan just got slapped by a fly. But they're so nuanced in their music that it's open up to interpretation when I don't think it should be. And that's why, like, man, I was at a church and I was preaching.
I bet I got a better story.
And okay, no, go ahead. That's fine. I was at a church and there was the older gentleman that had called me about preaching there. He said, yeah, we'll sing 2 songs to start, and then you'll go up there and preach, and then we'll sing 2 songs. So the first 2 songs will be like hymns, and then the final 2 will be like more like newer stuff for like the kids. I don't really like them. And I also had experience at another church. It was like, and this was a pretty older church. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, there's the stereotype is like a white hair church, and the lady that had chosen the music, she's like, okay, this one has a little bit of a beat to it, but just listen to the words. And I was like, oh boy, we got a beat in the music now.
Oh my gosh.
And I don't know where's it going with that. And I think there is something to the older hymns that it's like, man, this can't be taken one way or the other. This is like, man, this is like, how great thou art. How great is God?
Yeah.
That's what it means. That's what it says. There's no like, ooh, what does this mean? What does this mean to me? Like, dude, it's not talking about you. It's talking about God.
Elisa Childers she talked about this in one of her podcasts where she's like, some newer Christian music is just full of very vague water references.
Yeah.
It's like God is flowing out of me. He's
Oceans.
Oceans. I'm thinking of oceans. I don't know
yes.
some of the lyrics.
I don't even. Yeah, I forgot about that song. My sister played on the piano. Megan can play on the piano.
Megan's fake,
dude.
I mean, that's all there is to it.
Some people are like, "Oh, dude, Maverick City Music." They're like, "They're so good." Do you listen to them? I'm like, no, I'm not a sinner. No, I'm just joking. I'm just joking. I sin probably more than anyone else in the world.
I can confirm that.
Yeah, exactly. But no, it's like I don't like listening to their music very much because it's like I have to like listen to the words very carefully to make sure, and I typically do that with a lot of the music I listen to be sure that it is true to the Bible. But for some band, it's like, man, they're trying so hard to do that. Like this song called "Where Were You" by oh my goodness, I have to find it now. But "Where Were You," it's taken like literally the words are taken from a passage in Job. Like that's where the words come from. Like they're not just making them up. They are literally just copying what was in Scripture.
Well, and I think people do the opposite with hymns. Like when it comes to hymns, they're like, oh, those are traditional. We don't want those to be a part. I'm like, no, like appreciate hymns for what they are. Because I'll be honest, these are some of the most intelligent people writing these songs, which is so weird. Let's think about this. Let's think about the common worship leader / Christian artist nowadays. Probably not the most theologically sound person. And okay, is there anything wrong with that? No. I mean, like theologically sound or is like not as mature. There's a difference there. Like you want someone who's theologically sound, but as far as not as mature, but these are scholars who wrote these songs, like people who were who read the Bible and really digested it and wrote other literature and not just songs. Like these are some really intelligent people.
Yeah, I think there's also a flip side of that too. Because it doesn't have to just, I mean, I'm not saying that's not what you're saying, but it doesn't have to, because like, you think about like the writer of Amazing Grace, this slave trader, this guy that was on literally was on a slave trading ship, like got freed, and he wrote Amazing Grace. Mm-hmm. And I think that's kind of, true too. And I think, but yeah, what you're kind of like learning too is like, these people that are writing the music now, it's just like, these guys are climbing like Stephen Furtick.
Who's that? I don't know that.
He is the pastor of oh my goodness, what is Elevation Church?
Oh,
and
okay.
he has some major theological problems like heresy. Like he's almost a prosperity gospel preacher.
Okay.
And he has written some of the songs.
Okay.
And he was one of the co-writers of Jireh.
Dang it.
Yeah. And so I read that and I'm like listening to the words. I'm like, all right, that's it's okay. Yeah, okay. And then I just see written by Stephen Furtick. I'm like, oh, I don't even know if I can
Here's
promote
a question. That. How many times do we have to sing the bridge for the song to be impactful?
Man, dude, if you're listening to any newer Christian music, like you have to sing one line at least like 25 times. Like I'm gonna see a victory. Like, that song by Elevation?
I'm gonna see you. That one?
Victory.
The Battle Belongs?
Yes, the battle beat. Yes, it's like, dude.
Don't dog on it. It's in my playlist, man.
I always skip that. If it's on the radio, if I have that in my phone, I am skipping that song every single time.
Well, and what's the place in a church for raising your hands, like worshiping, like, that can... like, is that something that the Spirit does? Like, because some people it's for and some people it's not. So, like, why do some people raise their hands and why do some people not? Like, I think that's a common question that people would come if they came into a church.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of like, it's just up to you. It's like in what, like sometimes I think it's almost like, I don't even really know exactly how it got started, but it's almost like a feeling, like when you're lifting your hands, you're like thinking like,
You're close to God. Yeah.
You're reaching out to God, and it's like, like I'm thinking about God when I'm singing this song, or like, I'm a 20-inch screen TV guy.
Yeah.
I got my hands
My
out
fish
front.
was this big.
My fish was this big. Exactly.
Now, I'm a little bit of a liar. My fish was this big.
Exactly. Tim Hawkins, if you guys know what we're referring to. There's no like wrong way to raise your hands.
Uh-huh.
It's
but I think there's something like really powerful about like from going from hands by your side to hands open.
Yeah.
It's like I'm open to you, God. Like I'm allowing you to be inside of my body. Like come into this place right now.
Yeah.
And
I think too. I think we don't. It's like, these guys are whack. Talking about like their body language. I think it's like, no, our body language tells us a lot about like how we're feeling. Like because if it's like I got my arms crossed, I'm probably close it off.
Yeah.
But if I'm like open,
that's just like psychology 101 or
exactly
their body, like how people lie and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like I saw something when I was at Challenge this week, and like this guy, they're praying and he has his hands up and over everyone, and that just feels so symbolic to me of like how God is just all around us. And he was being symbolic of that. Like, I want to touch each and every one of these people. Yeah. It's like, it's weird how going from this to this is totally different. Sorry, if you did not watch it on video, it's like hands raised straight up, palms up in the air, two palms facing down and like hovering over everybody. It's like, I'm protected over all of this.
Yeah, and I think that's too, it's like, in prayer, man, now we just been getting off at Rebel Trails tonight about
it's okay.
So like, we tell kids like, okay, close your hands, bow your head. But I think, there's no right way to pray.
No.
Well, okay, there is a wrong way to pray.
There's no right posture to pray, I don't think.
There's no right posture. So it's like, man, because like as we get older, it's like, that was just to make sure the kids weren't playing with stuff when they had their hands, right? So, but when we pray, it's like, man, dude, I want to be open to God.
Yeah.
And so I want to open up my hands. And the truest same for worship. It's like, how great thou art. It's like, man, I'm closing my eyes. I'm looking up. I have my hands open because I'm just thinking and thinking in awe and reverence of who God is.
Think about a presentation. They talked about this in my speech class when you point with. They talked about this a little bit, but like basically how like when you open up your hands, like you show your palms to somebody, it's showing that like you're open to them. You're not trying to close anything off to them. When you put your palms away from them, now they feel like you're hiding something. And it's like, I want to open up my palms, open up my palms to God, which opens up my heart to God. Like, God, like, I'm open to you. Convict me of my sins. Mm-hmm. And like, I feel like that could be a very moving experience. And like, me and you who are generally like not super charismatic people, this sounds like super charismatic stuff.
Yeah.
But I want to find some common ground on that, because someone from the outside looking in would say like, oh, you're like really anti-charismatic, but no, I'm not. It's like, these are things that I feel like we can do, but I draw the line somewhere, and it's not because I think that's where I draw the line. That's sin. It's like, that's just not what I'm comfortable with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so too. And I kind of like transitioning back to the secular music that we were talking to at the beginning. Keegan, what do you think the line is on secular music? You think, I mean, should it have a playlist in your Apple Music library?
There's an answer for what I do, and there's an answer for what's right. And
you should probably fix that.
But it's like, are we not called to do everything to glorify God?
Yeah, and I think too, it's
am I missing something? Because I'm like, I've had this inner like wrestling with myself. It's like, Zach Bryan is not uplifting to God, but it's also not causing me to be farther away from God. I don't feel like.
I mean, all things are permissible, but not all are uplifting. I think
right, and it's like it's permissible, but like, are we not called for every single thing to try to be uplifting? So that's like a really, like, what do you think? What should I do?
Because, I mean, I have, like, a 6-hour playlist of like Zach Bryan's style of songs.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and because there's like times like, you know, it's like, man, I sit around the bonfire with my friends and it's like, I don't want to listen to Casting Crowns Star Right Here, you know, but I kind of just want to like have like a different vibe. And there I'm not listening. I mean, it's like background noise.
It's not, I'm not listening to the words.
Yeah, it's like background noise at that point.
Right. Other than I've memorized every single one of the words, so
I don't even have to think about it, you know.
It's just autonomous.
But it's tough because I do think that there are times to be sad, and I do think that there is like times where we can kind of like absorb this like sadness and pain and suffering, and we can do that and it kind of almost express that through like the music we listen to and like we're singing to it. You know what I mean?
Well, it's like, okay, this is gonna be weird, but like Beethoven, like he wrote some music, didn't have any words to it, but like it creates an emotional response in you when the cello or when the violin starts playing super fast. Like it causes your heart rate to race. Like this music has an effect on you, and it's like it is a positive effect. I think, and I think Zach. I mean, we're just gonna say his name, Zach Bryan. I mean, I think some of his music does have a positive effect on you. Where do we draw the line? I say, is it affecting your thoughts? Is it drawing you away from God?
Mm-hmm.
No, I don't think it is. Has not God given us everything on this earth to enjoy?
Yeah.
It's like, where does he draw the line? Sin.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the line.
And I think too, I think it's like, 300 feet behind the sin.
Right. Like, don't. Yeah, I see what you mean. Like, don't get up just right next to the line.
Yeah.
It's like, do all these things and do not sin.
Yeah. And I think too, it's like, I'm playing this rap song, but I'm singing it, but I'm not saying the cuss words. I feel like you're towing the line.
Isn't that like just like you are jealous towards somebody, you committed adultery, or you committed murder in your heart?
Yeah.
That's like the same idea.
Yeah.
It's like if you listen to this music and you put this into your body, it's just like you're saying all those cuss words because you memorized it.
Trash in, trash out.
Okay, Mom.
I'm just saying.
It's true, but
hey, I get called an old man all the time, so I don't want to.
You're just an old soul boy.
And like I think this is like definitely interesting, because I've been creating a high school dance playlist.
Yeah.
And so it's like,
tell us about that, Max.
So it's tough, right? Because there is certain songs that are played that lead people to say cuss words.
Yeah.
And I've just had this conviction. It's like, man, I don't really want to play those songs.
No.
And I don't care if
you're gonna be the most popular guy, buddy.
No, but
yeah.
Well, it's like, man, I'm leading these people to sin if I play those songs.
We live 70-ish years.
Mm-hmm.
This earth has been here for 6,500 years.
Yeah, a little less than that.
A little less. You see where this is heading? It's like our time on earth is less than 1% of the time of the earth being alive.
And then our time on earth is less than a blink.
Nothing. It's exactly 0.000001, infinite number is 0% of our life because it's nothing compared to eternity. The trouble, this in James, the troubles of this world will be nothing compared to the joys of eternity with God.
I don't know where that's at. I don't have the whole Bible memorized.
Maybe it's in the Torah.
No, is it the Quran?
Isn't the Torah a thing? Am I making that up?
No, that is a thing. It's like the Jewish scriptures.
Yeah. Are you going on a mission trip this summer?
Dude, man, don't put me in this position. I want to.
As do I.
Yeah, and so we'll figure it out.
God's gonna tell us
off the podcast. God is gonna speak to me.
Max. So let's just a little recap. Can you listen to secular music? Yes. Is it causing you to sin? What kind of effect is it having on your life? That's a heart thing. What's it doing to your heart? Christian music and ethics.
Listen to the words because it's just as important as the sermon is.
Exactly. And I wouldn't have always agreed with Max on that. I fought him. I said, well, it's just words. But no, words have the power of life and death. They affect you more than you realize. Be careful. Yeah, be careful about what you put into your body.
Yep, trash in, trash out.
Trash in, trash out. Cash in, cash out.
That's what Vicky Reed always said.
Oh, she's a legend.
Always told Ryan, but all right. Well,
is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
Peace out.
Basic
family. Thanks for tuning in to this week's episode of Christian Campfire Conversations. I'll see you next week.